This week on Vegan Freak Radio, we talk about the I want to eat it, but I don't want to see it meat eaters. And we talk about your voicemails and emails, all on Podcast 64 for March 22nd.
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority, here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Hello.
And that's our announcer.
Yes, we have some new sounds I think you're going to like.
Maybe you'll like them, I don't know. Maybe they're...
I think everybody will like them.
I like them, I think they're great. We have some really good new sounds. So, believe it or not, we're here. I mean, you don't know, but we know.
We've been trying for the last 45 minutes.
Hour.
To start the show.
Yeah.
And we've started like 3 times now, 4 times at least.
At least 4 times.
Yes. So.
Various things going wrong.
Yeah.
Various problems. Issues with our network. Issues with me having things on the wrong channels. Issues with volume. Basically, issues with the dogs. Mm-hmm. What else? The power could go out and it hasn't yet.
It has not. Let's hope it doesn't. And we don't even know if we can get the show up because our server's down.
Well, anyway, but here's the thing. You don't tune into Vegan Freak Radio to hear about our problems, not unless they're related to veganism. You tune into Vegan Freak Radio to hear about veganism, animal rights, why welfareism sucks. I don't know, what else?
Occasionally your taint.
My taint, every so often, is discussed. Other kinds of really hard... everybody knows what a taint is, right?
We've talked about this before, so...
Okay, good. No. Some people don't know. I mean, we had these friends who didn't know what a taint was.
That's true.
I had to explain to them that it was the dirtiest inch on your body. Well, it's often called that. I don't know if it really is the dirtiest inch.
Let's hope not. You got to clean it once in a while.
I clean my taint all the time.
Good.
In the shower.
Good.
Yeah. And I shower pretty often. You know, I'm not like a stinky hippie.
We're not a dirty, stinky hippie.
Yeah. Anyway, wow. I can't believe we're doing the show. I'm shocked that we're recording.
All right,
Everything
we made
works.
it past the 2-minute mark. We're good to go.
This is the first time. We've been trying. So, like Jenna said, we have a lot. Well, we don't have a lot to do on today's show. I just feel like I've run a marathon today. I mean, really, it's ridiculous. Anyway, enough about whining about the show. We actually have a very nice setup here. It's just every so often, the universe seems to conspire.
Mm-hmm. It's like a spinning beach ball of death for a while. Things won't copy. The network goes down. It just,
Windows was being evil, as usual.
This is no surprise to me.
Me either, but your Mac was being equally shitty.
I know.
So I was upset.
It's because you have bad Mac karma on my computer because you yell at it.
Your computer... It's the right... I don't know why you don't turn on the right click on your trackpad.
As I explained to you before, it's because I usually use my big keyboard.
Okay, well, yeah, whatever. Let's move on here and talk about some really interesting things rather than us arguing about computers.
Yes.
All right, so go ahead.
Yeah, we have 2 articles from the New York Times.
Oh, so what, are we only reading the New York Times these days?
Apparently, yeah. Well, no, it's just these... Just I happened to catch my eye the other day. They're not necessarily vegan related, but they were both in the food section. So, you know, as we always find interesting and gross things in the New York Times food section.
This is true.
We have one article about rodents, and we have another article about Hispanic groceries. Do you want to start with you?
Sure.
Okay.
It says tortillas like mama, but this is no bodega. Okay. You're not going to find Swanson frozen dinners at Rancho Liborio, a shiny new 49,000 square foot supermarket in this Denver suburb. But you will find the fried plantains called maduros and giant Peruvian kernels of corn. In the produce section, $1 will buy you 3 avocados. The tilapia are sold live. Stacks of fresh tortillas made from 600 pounds of corn ground in the store daily are always warm.
That sounds good.
That does sound good, actually. And maybe, if the local political winds shift, shoppers might one day be able to buy a chicken that was slaughtered and plucked on site a few hours earlier.
Not vegan.
Well, it's not. With its bright, wide aisles, agua fresca bar, and an expansive selection of hot food like carnitas and even pizza, Rancho Liborio wants to be the go-to store for second and third generation shoppers who are attracted to markets like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, but want to cook and shop in a store that feels like home. So like for me, basically, right?
Right.
So what else is here? Okay. And
it goes on to talk about like, what the store is like and how it caters to all people from all different Latino backgrounds because they all have different, foods that they typically use. And it sounds like they have a nice stock of beans. They have all kinds of different kinds of beans.
I like beans because I'm a beaner. Yeah. I can get into the beans. Okay. When the chain started its expansion to Colorado, the owners had hoped that a polleria would be the star attraction. Live chickens would be shipped in every morning and then slaughtered and processed by noon. Oh man, where's my not?
Not vegan.
I actually like this effect. I don't know when I'm going to be able to use it, but this one's very good.
Eat me.
Oh, I'm sure we'll have use for that one.
Actually, I think there's an email where I need to use that one. Anyway, okay, live chickens be shipped in every morning, then slaughtered and processed by noon. But the polleria, which has met the Federal Agriculture Department's guidelines, sits unused at the Commerce City store, the first in the chain to open in Colorado because the idea of chicken slaughtering didn't go over with some city officials and residents. You'd think we were planning to kill people, Jack Rosenthal said. The company ran into a similar problem when it began plans to open a store with a polleria in Greeley, Colorado. In Greeley, of all places? Isn't that the place that's talked about in Fast Food Nation?
Exactly. It's either a slaughterhouse or meat packing plants that they have there. I can't remember
I think it's slaughterhouses.
Yeah.
Both, or maybe, I don't know.
At any rate, it's a big in the meat industry. Right,
I don't remember.
Greeley.
I read Fast Food Nation a couple years ago. Anyway, the company ran into a similar problem when it began plans to open a store with a polleria in Greeley. Both chicken slaughtering and the chain's bilingual signs tapped a vein of anti-Latino sentiment. The public outcry grew so intense that the company scratched the polleria. The local newspaper, the Tribune, ran an editorial in July welcoming the market and condemning what the editorial board viewed as a vilification of Mexican immigrants. If this were any other market, people would welcome it with open arms and maybe wander through the aisles to find some new foods to try at the dinner table, the editorialist wrote. And I think that's interesting because, first off, it's interesting for two reasons. Is like, people, A, don't like the Mexicans and don't want them around, number one. But, or two, or B.
Yeah, apparently not even upscale stores.
Not even upscale Mexicans, right?
Right.
So, and also the whole idea of like, why would they be, if they eat chicken, what's the objection? It's like, you eat chicken, it's slaughtered. What?
Right. If it's all wrapped up and nicely packaged in the grocery store, they have no problems with it. But if it's killed there, oh, well, then no, that's just disgusting. It's just for those damn Mexicans. You know, it's like.
Well, I don't know. Whole Foods is full of this.
Happy meat.
And Whole Foods is full of happy meat. And I don't know how happy the meat would be at a place like this.
Well, see, the welfarists would say, well, but maybe they're killed nicer. They're not, all shuttled through the slaughterhouse. They're just quick, boom.
Could be. Could be.
But, I just find it kind of funny. And the whole line is like, it's not like we're killing people.
I know. It's like we're killing.
To us, yeah, it's just as bad.
It is a problematic moral stance.
Yeah.
Happy meat.
Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. There's so many problems. It's like, yeah, we don't like it because it belongs to the Mexicans, number one. But number two, it's like the Mexicans want to kill all these fucked up, kill chickens in fucked up ways. And that's not cool either.
Right. And we certainly don't want to see it or know about it. Know that it's happening right there.
Well, that's the thing. I've talked to some people before in the past and they've been like, why are you a vegan? And I start to say, well, and they go, no, wait, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I'd rather not know.
So they know that fucked up shit goes on in order to get the food to their dinner table. They
Absolutely.
don't want to think about it.
They don't want to think about it.
So,
yes.
And
you know what else? Before we get the emails from all the cultural relative postmodernists out there, before we get all the, well, it's their culture, it's okay. First off, if you write to me saying that, here's what I'm going to say to you.
Eat me.
Because I hear this pretty often, being involved in kind of left liberal circles. I often hear this notion that, well, it's their culture. Like, for example, if there's a tribe somewhere that wants to kill something, right? We can always justify it because it's their culture and it's imperialist for us to say that they shouldn't be consuming that stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Wine, right? What if some, I don't know, group had as part of their culture a ritual that involved the killing of infants every so often? It's like, if you're not Peter Singer, it's probably, let's pretend you're not Peter Singer and you have no trouble with, you have trouble with killing infants. What if there were a group that had an annual ritual that involved the slaughter of infants? I know a certain number, 5 or 6, in the spring as a way of kind of pacifying the earth god. And I don't know, infant blood is what the earth god needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would we be able to justify that through the lens of cultural relativism?
Of course not.
Well, we wouldn't be able to.
No.
Actually, I've heard students try to justify to me female genital mutilation by saying it's cultural relativism. Forced, not voluntary,
Right.
Forced at like age 10. You know, forcing women at age 10 to have their clitoris removed. I've heard students argue to me, it's cultural relativism, and it's not your place to judge that. Bull fucking shit. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it isn't my place to judge it. You know what? No. There are ultimate principles at stake here, and they're worth talking about and worth considering. So before I get all the nasty email about how it's okay for the Mexicans to kill the chickens, no, it's not. Okay? I don't care if it's their culture. It's not okay. Do I think that we should be using that as a way of vilifying Mexicans? No, because the American diet or Americans consuming chicken is every bit as barbarous. So I don't think we should be setting Mexicans up as kind of enemies because of that, or as quote unquote bad people because of that. But I do think that it's important that we recognize that, you know, cultural relativism here, I don't think is something we can really fall back on.
No. It goes along with it's tradition argument, so which we all know does not fly around here.
That's right.
Just
it does
because
not
it's
fly.
tradition does not mean it's good, and does not mean that you have to uphold it.
And in the end, it's
Not vegan.
of course. So anyway, I feel a little better now.
Good, you ranted a little bit.
I did. I hope I made sense.
You did.
Sometimes I wonder, you know, when I'm having my moments of insanity, if I make any sense. It's hard for me to do that and sit down too. 'Cause when I'm in class, I get up, I rant, I move across the room. I
That's
probably
true.
lose pounds lecturing in class because I move around the room. And when I lecture in big auditoriums, I run up and down the aisles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Keeps the students awake.
Well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay. This other article, it's called "In Venezuela, Rodents Can Be a Delicacy." And this is also from the New York Times. The first time I looked at this article, it was in the science section for some reason. And then it ended up in the dining section. So anyway, okay.
In the dining section?
Dining. Yeah. As the dusk fell on the tropical wetland crawling with iguanas and small crocodilian caimans, Jose Ismael Jimenez pointed his harpoon at a rodent about the size of a Labrador retriever.
Oh boy.
That's big. With aim that comes from years of practice, he landed his spear on the back of its head. But this hunt was not about ridding the country's southern plains of varmints. It's about what's for dinner. The hunter's only goal was the meat of the capybara. I don't know. I think that's Brazilian, so I'm not exactly sure.
Capybara.
Capybara.
Capybara is what's for dinner.
Reputed to be the world's largest rodent. Unlike other South American countries, including Argentina and Brazil, where capybaras are raised mainly for their hides, here the rodent's meat is a sought-after delicacy, fetching prices almost double for those for beef. This job is harder than cattle, Mr. Jimenez said while on a nighttime hunt on Hato Santa Luisa, a ranch spread over more than 40,000 acres on Venezuela's plains, but it's just as rewarding. Mr. Jimenez, a wiry llanero, as the plainsman cowboys of this part of Venezuela are known, and 7 other hunters armed with .22 caliber rifles and steel pipes killed 18 capybaras during their foray. The annual hunt comes before Easter, when capybara has a status in Venezuela similar to that of turkey during Thanksgiving. While the Roman Catholic Church generally forbids eating meat during certain days of Lent, many Venezuelans insist that the capybara is more akin to fish than to meat. That may have something to do with how salted capybara tastes, resembling a mixture of sardines and pork. Legend has it that eating capybara, known here as chiguire, got a boost in the 18th century when the local clergy asked the Vatican to give capybara the status of fish. Which we talked about last week, apparently is not meat. Scientists' assertion that capybara is neither fish nor fowl has not dented its popularity in Venezuela. In fact, the meat is so coveted throughout the year that poachers nearly wiped out the country's capybara population until the authorities limited hunting of the wild rodent to controlled amounts on private land. And then they go on to say, well, that Hugo Chavez is an aficionado, of course. Eating rodents is not unheard of elsewhere. In Louisiana, the nutria, which resembles a small capybara, but with a tail, finds its way onto dinner plates. Or witness the relish with which diners in Ecuador and Peru savor cuy, or guinea pig. In Caracas, chefs have tried elevating capybara to haute cuisine. Haute cuisine. It's French. It's French. I don't do French.
I don't do French either.
Okay. Never mind that capybaras have some unusual habits, like eating their own feces. And yes, some chefs acknowledge the method used to kill capybaras, normally involving a sharp clubbing of the rodent's head, put off some diners. We're not asking for the capybaras to be put to death while listening to Vivaldi, but something could be done to make the practice less brutal, said
Happy me!
said Victor Moreno, the head chef at the Center for Gastronomic Studies, a Caracas cooking school. Capybara is an exquisite meat that deserves prominent stature in our culinary tradition. And then they talk about how they granted hunting licenses. They have these private ranch where people go and kill whole shitloads of them. The preferred method for hunting them is with a small rifle. Sometimes that does not work when capybaras, semi-aquatic by nature, escape into murky ponds or creeks. Hence the steel pipes used to club them, or the harpoon, which requires better aim from a distance. The hunt also poses risks for the hunters. Piranhas and small caiman swim in the same waters as the desired rodent. And adult capybaras, while docile and young, are known to bite when threatened. So yeah. Again, we don't want to, kill them in mean ways, but we still want to kill them and eat them. Yeah.
Well, what do you think? Do you have any ruminations to share?
No, it's just that, well, this article is fun, I think of interest in the New York Times because it talks about eating rodents, which to us is so foreign.
Right.
Again, in the whole thing we talked about a couple weeks ago when people don't really eat horse or dog or cat, because that's just weird, even though they have no problem eating cows and chickens and, some animals are more equal than others.
Of course.
So, of course, to us, eating rodents is just weird.
Those third world people do it.
Exactly. And it's just exotic.
But it's their culture.
Exactly. And then the whole part about we don't want to be put them to death while listening to Vivaldi, but you shouldn't pop them over the head with a steel pipe.
Happy meat.
What does it matter? You're killing them and eating them.
I agree.
It's like either way, it's bad for the capybaras.
Well, that's
bad.
it. The problem is killing them. I mean, that's the issue.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What else?
So, and then they're hunting them, and they're in huge, huge numbers. So, and they're cute too. It doesn't matter whether they're cute or not, but they just
Don't be a cuddly
I'm
Tarian.
not being a cuddly Tarian, but they just happen to be really cute.
It just helps if they're cute.
No, it does not.
Okay.
Because I think that cows are cute. Most people don't like cows. A lot of people think cows are ugly.
Really?
Pigs are ugly. Yeah, there's some cow haters out there.
They're hating on the cows?
Yeah.
Weird.
So, but anyway. So yeah, so those are two interesting articles that happen to be out on the same day about people that they want to eat it, but they don't want to see it. That kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So, there we go.
It's a common issue, I think.
It is.
I think if slaughterhouses had, windows, people might be more hesitant to consume what comes out of them.
Exactly, just like with the polleria. They don't want to see it.
They don't want to see it. Not at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we're too used to receiving our meat in these little styrofoam trays and not thinking about where it comes from and not wanting to know.
Exactly. Don't want to know.
Well, I was doing some research actually for the book I'm working on, and one of the things I came across were the guidelines from United Egg Producers that talk about what you have to do to get their humane care certified label, And one of the things they talked about was, quote unquote, disposing of spent birds, as they call them. Spent, like, I don't know, what a ridiculous term. But they had these ways of getting rid of spent birds, killing spent birds. And they have terms like cervical dislocation. Do you know what that is?
Breaking their neck.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's breaking their neck. And then they have modified atmosphere killing, MAK carts.
Gassing them.
And then they have electrocution followed by maceration. Yeah. And that's electrocuting them and grinding them up alive, which is like, what the fuck, But it has an interesting part in the whole thing where it says, it is really important that you not do these things where the public can see it. You want to avoid the shock, from the public seeing it. I thought that was an interesting thing to put in their guidelines. It's like, do this out of the view of the public. We wouldn't want them to see, what goes into your eggs.
No, they don't even let journalists in. I mean, even meat-eating journalists, they don't let in to talk about these things. They don't let anybody into the slaughterhouse.
It's difficult.
Yep.
Very difficult. So anyway, I think we need to, I think that's why it's important for us as vegans to remind people. I mean, not to be gory about it all the time, but I think selectively to remind people where their food comes from. And I think that by being vegan, we give people that moment of pause.
We do.
Perhaps.
We do. We remind them that they're eating a dead animal.
I think that's what we do if we do it well.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, let's move on.
Okay.
This is going to be a quick show.
Yep.
Because, I don't know. I had a lot of energy earlier, and then I blew it trying to solve problems, and now I'm just kind of like, meh.
Oh, well, let's listen to some voicemails.
Okay. Can I play this sound again, though?
Eat me.
I really like that.
Sure.
All right. So let's play some voicemail.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. This is Alex from Chicago. Me and my boyfriend Matt were just watching the 700 Club for shits and giggles, and this jackass just fucking said that people aren't eating the right amount of fruits and vegetables because they have to be cooked to a certain degree to kill bacteria.
What?
What the hell? I fucking hate these people. You guys rock. Have a really good day. Okay, bye.
Thanks, Alex.
A jackass on the 700 Club? I don't believe it.
You know, I was watching one day. For everybody out there, you need to know a little something about Jenna and I. I'm not allowed to watch when she's around Fox News, the 700 Club, anything even remotely right-wing or Christian. Right?
Right.
Why?
Because it drives me nuts.
It drives you batty.
It makes my blood pressure soar.
See, I watch it and it makes me laugh mostly. But anyway, one day when we were in a hotel, and you know, I'll say this also. I'm able to program our television, and I've removed all those channels from our TV. So if you're surfing through the TV, there is no Fox News, there is no Christian broadcasting, there is no PAX, there is no
right. Unless you know the number and you punch it in directly.
If you punch it in directly, yes. But as you go through, even if you look at the guide on the television, those are all missing from the guide, from the on-screen guide. ESPN's gone. Basically everything that I don't like and you don't like we've gotten rid of.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, once we were in a hotel, and usually in the hotels we watch the worst television, Jenna was in the shower and I'm flipping through the channels and I come across the 700 Club, and there's this whole segment on about this guy who literally believed that he was possessed by demons. Like he believed that the demons were possessing him, you know, and that his life was just going in such a bad direction because he was possessed by demons, and the demons were trying to get into his life and to influence him. And then he accepted Jesus, and the demons left his life. He said, "Demons out! I want you out of my life." And they left his life, and he was like, great. So the whole point was, accept Jesus and get rid of the demons, and everything will be great.
Okay.
And I was like watching this on television thinking, this guy literally believes in the existence of demons, number one. I mean, it's bad enough that he literally believes in the existence of some great being up in the sky who gives a shit about him. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I don't understand. I'm just going to say this, and if I offend you, that's the way life is. I think this Christian fundamentalist stuff that's going on out there, some of it is extremely self-centered. It's like this personal God shit. Like, ooh, God loves me. And you know, I think if there were a God, and not that I even think that there is, but if there were a God, would God give a shit about you? God doesn't care. Like, I would think that God would be like, I'm running the universe. Who gives a shit? It seems clear to me that God does not give. If there were a God, that he would or she would not care. I mean, if he or she cared, would we have all of the horrible things in the world? Anyway, I'm not going to go further. I'm just going to say, I couldn't believe that this guy was on television actually thinking that demons existed, right? It's bad enough to think that God exists and then to believe that demons exist as well. It's like, what the fuck? So the 700 Club, to get back to the point of the original email, it's absurdity.
Yeah.
But fun.
Yeah.
I watch it and I actually
Why the
find
hell
it.
were they talking about cooking vegetables anyway?
I don't know.
I mean, okay, yes, what you said was absurd because, hello, you have to cook meat to a certain degree to kill anything that's in it. Hello?
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You know, they're tied into all kinds of right-wing industries, and
Sure.
I'm sure they're tied into the meat industry in some way or another too. It wouldn't surprise me in the least.
Right. Tobacco, all that kind of shit.
I mean,
tobacco runs half the food companies anyway.
Yeah, they do actually. So, you know, to see Pat on there, or whoever it would have been saying that shit. I mean, you know, you remember what Pat said after 9/11, right?
Oh, yeah.
That it was the abortionists and the pagans and the lesbians and the Wiccans who caused 9/11, all those who have rejected God from public life. You know, whatever. All right, another one.
Hey, vegan freaks. Bryce Almighty from the forums here. First time calling. Unfortunately, it's a rant, as I am one livid, pissed vegan with a tummy ache. And I have a tummy ache because I ate a little bit of dairy this evening. which blows. I went to the campus food buffet here at school in Olympia, Washington, and went to the vegan-vegetarian bar to find a Chipotle Alfredo and pasta. And I said, great, there's no vegan pasta sauce. So I look up at the signage that usually tells you if it's vegan or vegetarian, and it has a list of ingredients, and it was listed vegan. It was a vegan Alfredo. So I start, kind of stirring in it, but my vegan senses are going off, and I asked to speak with one of the chefs. And they tell me, oh, no, it's soy milk. It's definitely vegan. So, I get some salad and a little bit of pasta, and I go sit down with it, eat a bite, and hey, it's really good. That's excellent. And I eat some salad, I eat a few more bites of pasta. My stomach starts to hurt a little bit. That's definitely not a fucking good sign. And Angry Duck, my friend and coworker, came to save the day and tells, oh, shit, that's not vegan. And I figured this. My stomach sank, and my colon started to hurt a little bit. He had spoken with the chef as well, and they told him, no, it's cow's cream. And so I went and spoke with the chef again and told him, I was told this was vegan, and it's not. And this is completely fucking unacceptable. Not a food item for me. This is not meant for my system. It is kicking my system's ass as we speak. And this is for baby cows and not humans. This is unacceptable. And I'll be sending his boss an angry little note as well. But yeah, I thought I would just share how pissed I was, kind of try and get that off my chest. Thanks for listening, freaks. Catch you later.
That is frustrating.
It is. It's amazingly frustrating. But at least good that, it's bad that it happened. It's horrible that it happened, but good that you stood up for it.
Absolutely.
That you made a stink about it and to make people realize this shit's not okay.
You should have eaten it.
Peter Singer would have.
Not vegan.
Well, it's not.
No.
No, I agree. They tried to pull the same thing with me once at the cafeteria at our school.
Mm-hmm.
Exact same thing. It wasn't Chipotle Alfredo, but it was Alfredo. It was in the vegetarian vegan section. I asked them, is this vegan? They looked at me and said, it's vegan. And I was with my friend Dan. Dan looked at me and shook his head. No. And I looked at it. It was disgusting. There was little pools of grease on it, and it smelled like dairy. So I didn't even touch it because I knew it wasn't. But it's frustrating. But it's good that you went and stood up for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because people need to know that it's a question of fucking being fed things that we don't eat, that things that are not food for us.
Exactly. And I like how you put that. It's not food for me. Right?
You should have really, what I would do from now on if that happens is go scare the hell out of them and go, I can't believe you told me there was dairy in this. I am allergic. I'm going to be so sick. And then that would really scare them.
True. But
I have no problem with lying.
Yeah, but then people should also know that there are other reasons that people don't want to eat dairy besides the fact that they're allergic. So.
But
that would have scared them even more.
From a food service perspective, that would have done it.
Yeah.
Would it not?
Yeah.
I think so.
Like, I cannot eat dairy.
Yeah.
Even you apparently did nasty things to your stomach anyway, so.
Well, I hope you're feeling better. And it's always frustrating to be fed.
Yeah. What's wrong?
Nothing. It's always frustrating to be fed that kind of stuff.
Cool. What's wrong?
I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, no. You had a funny look on your face.
I thought you were going to say something.
No, I'm done.
All right. Sorry. I apologize to all our listeners out there. Next one.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is Tom, and I'm just listening to your podcast for March 14th and listening to some of the responses people have to veganism, one being that there's no joy in it. Well, I just recently became vegan because of you guys, and my coworker said, I just don't understand the joy in it. Where do you get your joy from? And I said, well, initially, my joy comes from knowing that I am peacefully eating non-violently gotten food, all right? So that's that. Love the podcast. Talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Congratulations on going vegan.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And that was a very nice, succinct answer.
I agree. Mm-hmm. And I feel the same way.
Yeah.
To me, eating this way and living this way is unquestionably joyful because I recognize that I'm living by the principles that I think are important to me.
Yeah.
And I can look at animals and not feel guilty.
Exactly. And to many, that puts us on the, fortress of elite, whatever it is that we said at the beginning, elite fortress of moral superiority.
Would you like to hear it again?
Okay. Sure.
Okay, you ready? Here, this is the intro again. We're going to play it again. But...
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority, here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
There you go. So high atop our elite fortress of moral superiority.
Yes.
People have argued that.
Yes, but they don't understand that this makes us happy. This is what we want to do.
Absolutely.
We're not doing it and to be miserable.
No.
And we're not miserable because we eat whatever we want. We don't want to eat meat or dairy or eggs.
No, we don't.
So we do still eat whatever we want.
That's right.
People always see it as a limitation, and it's not.
But I like Tom's answer. It's a very good answer because it immediately gets someone thinking about why does it someone would go vegan.
Right.
So
exactly,
it's a non-violent way of eating, man.
It is.
You're not inflicting much violence on animals directly, at least for consuming what you're consuming. And I agree. I feel a lot better as a vegan.
Yeah.
I feel a lot more honest with myself and with my ethics. Okay. Next.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is Jen. I'm new on the forums. I'm Drash23. Yes, my name rhymes with trash. I heard that you like drunken dial, so I thought I'd call.
You don't sound drunk.
Nice. This is a pretty clear drunk dial.
Because I feel like I'm in some secret little club, and nobody else understands anything.
Yep.
I have found myself, I ripped a whole bunch of podcasts to CD, and I've been listening to them at work. And I find myself like randomly yelling, "Not vegan" at things for no reason, and then everyone stares at me and whatever. The other thing is today I was listening to, I don't think it was a music podcast, but it's around that time, so last summer sometime. And there was a song by some people that was about plants feeling pain, and they kept saying that V8 was genocide, and it was just perfect timing because I just had two coworkers give me the plants right line and how I shouldn't eat plants because they feel pain, something fucking stupid like that. And I shouldn't eat the plants.
You should eat your coworkers.
The animals eat, and I'm kind of a big girl, but dude, I'm not going to eat all their plants. So those are my two things. Oh, and I thought you'd appreciate this because it sounds like you kind of live where I live, but in New York, which is still cooler. I was driving on the freeway today, and I saw a Mercedes SUV, with the license plate. It was personalized, and it said Hillbilly. I'm not sure when they gave the hillbillies Mercedes, but what the fuck. I guess that's all for now. That was my drunken dial to you, and I'm going to bed now.
I think that's what our voicemail sings and shut you off there. So, that is funny.
That's great. Well, the plants have feelings, Elaine. God, I never tire of hearing that one.
Oh yeah.
That's actually one of my favorite ones because it's so easy to destroy that.
It really is.
It really is so simple. But I don't know. You should just tell your coworkers.
Eat me.
Yeah, because, tell them, people should eat each other because they argue we shouldn't eat plants because, plants have rights and you shouldn't eat plants because then what are the other animals going to eat? So you should just eat each other.
Soylent Green is people. No. Yeah, I don't know. What?
Yeah, it always boggles my mind when people come up with it. You're like, you really? Come on, really?
That's exactly it. I mean, I've had students ask that question in class, and I will say to them, "Are you serious? Are you really serious? You really want to go there?" And they start laughing. And then, okay, fine, we'll go there. We'll go in the plants have pain. Plants can feel pain direction, And it's so easy to pull it apart. It's just like, you take a hot poker and you put it in a head of broccoli and the head of broccoli burns and nothing happens. You take a hot poker and you put it in on a pig and the pig squeals and runs away. What more do I need to do?
Mm-hmm.
But yes, indeed. Okay, so let's move on to emails.
Okay.
Was there something else you want to say about that?
Nope, there isn't. For some reason, I thought we had one more voicemail, and we don't. I am just mistaken. So go ahead.
1, 2, 3, 4. Only
yep,
4.
We got it. We did them all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Just
It's okay.
confused.
It's okay.
Okay.
Today's show, I do not feel it. I don't feel like we're doing
Well, we've had so many technical difficulties, and we already had to stop the podcast once because the dogs went berserk. So
Yeah. So I would just like to take this moment to apologize to everyone out there. As the co-host of Vegan Freak Radio, I feel as though we're not giving you the kind of entertainment that you expect from Vegan Freak Radio. And I hereby pledge to do better for you in the future.
okay, good.
Okay.
Well, next week's show is going to kick ass.
Next week's show will indeed be very good.
Yes,
But this week's show, I'm just not, we're just having difficulties.
we are.
I apologize. Because, it's important to me to bring
Yeah.
good vegan radio to the masses.
It is.
It is very important to me. We like to do that. And when I'm not doing it, I feel the pain deep inside of myself. It is as though one of my children, like I have children, right? It's like as though one of my children is failing in the world or something. I don't know. I feel like a forlorn parent.
Oh.
So anyway, enough of my whining. Let's move on to a funny email. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is from John. And John writes, I just started listening to you guys. Pretty cool show. I'm not vegan and I don't think I ever will be. Can I ask what your position is on abortion? I'm really interested in vegans, and I talk to a lot of people that say vegans have no problem at all with abortion, but won't eat meat. Can you also clear up another stereotype that I've been hearing? I've heard that most vegans are really into sexual freeness, for lack of a better term. I guess this means they are swingers and or bisexual. I'm being completely serious and want you two to discuss this on your show. By the way, I live in Pennsylvania. Okay, let's talk about my position on abortion. Well, my position on abortion is exactly the same as the position that Gary Francione talked about when he was asked this question several weeks ago.
Yeah, so you should really go back and listen to the interview with Gary Francione.
I think that's the best answer. But I mean, I basically think that that it's not really even an issue that is relevant to the question of veganism. But just go back and listen to that. It's really much easier than me just explaining it again. Also, another stereotype I've been hearing, that most vegans are into sexual freeness, for lack of a better term. Well, I'm not a swinger. I'm not bisexual. Some people probably are.
Mm-hmm. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. I don't know. He's being serious. This is different than the question we had about proctophilia, though.
True.
Remember, there was a guy who was like, "Where can I find girls who, like, vegan girls who like farting?" Like, I'm like, dude, hello, vegan girls farting? Yeah,
of course.
Vegan anybody farting? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try to answer the question seriously. Maybe because vegans in general tend to be people who are open-minded about things. They tend to be more thoughtful about the world around them. They tend to sometimes be more self-assertive and self-aware, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps for those reasons, you will find a greater representation of people who are more in touch with their sexuality.
If that is indeed true.
If that is indeed true.
I mean, there are so many stereotypes of vegans, and apparently this is one of them I've never heard before, actually.
Well, if you don't eat meat, you must be gay, right?
Oh, right. And we're missing, meat in our lives, so we got to get meat other way, right?
I heard that before, too.
Okay.
That was an email about that before, too. It's like, do vegan girls like more meat? You get what I mean? Well,
actually, if you want to have a good partner, a vegan is a good way to go, because our blood isn't clogged with so much cholesterol, and
this is true.
Men can actually get it up.
That's right. Men can very easily get it up. Veganism is nature's Viagra.
It is.
So,
no blood circulation problems.
No blood circulation problems, very low cholesterol in general if you eat well.
If you eat well.
And you can get it up more easily. So perhaps, I don't know, maybe vegans I'm sure have better sex.
I would think.
I would hope
They have
so.
more energy.
I would hope so. Maybe we should do a veganism and sex show.
We should.
We really should.
Yeah.
We really should. We could have people call in and tell us about their... No, that wouldn't be good.
Vegans are a horny bunch, though, in my experience.
Oh, really?
Just go on the forums.
Oh, really? Oh, really? So, I don't know.
Because they got a lot of energy,
Are there more bisexuals? I don't know.
Probably
Are there more
not.
swingers? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, it may be that people tend to be more in touch with the various aspects of themselves and willing to acknowledge these things and go with it. But is there anything about veganism that makes you bisexual, or that makes you a swinger, or that makes you gay, or that makes you straight, or that makes you transsexual or transgender, or any of those things? No. No, I don't think so. Or into girls that are farting? I don't think so.
Although it is a good bonus, I guess.
The girls that fart, you mean?
If you're vegan and you're into proctophilia.
Oh, a proctophilia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, vegans fart a lot.
Not me, I never fart.
No, never.
And when I do, it smells just like roses. Actually, I think my farts smell like freesias. Those are my favorite flowers.
Not in my experience, they don't.
It goes both ways there, honey.
Yeah,
all right, go.
Okay, this one's from Sean. Okay, so here goes. I am 21 years old. I'm a sociology student at a college in West Virginia and a vegan. I get harassed constantly about it. I get called gay, I get picked on, and basically have a hard time every day. When I'm home for the summer, I work at a grocery store and I carry out groceries for people, so obviously the issue of food comes up. Whenever I tell them that I am vegan, I get ridiculed yet again. I'm not willing to change my beliefs. Well, good. Of course not. But this is really starting to take a toll on me emotionally. I listened to your podcast about Pennsylvania, and that sounds friendly compared to West Virginia. Maybe the solution would be to move? If anyone can help, it'd be you guys. I would appreciate any help.
I think you should just tell them this.
Eat me.
No, I think seriously, moving probably
Moving's
isn't a
probably
bad
not
idea.
a bad idea. I've heard West Virginia is a really difficult place to be. I've heard from other people who live in West Virginia.
I don't know. I can't comment on that. But if I think if it's in passing, like if someone you're carrying groceries out to their car and they start talking about this kind of stuff, I don't know. I mean, maybe I wouldn't normally advise this, but I think maybe the easiest thing to do is to just not let it come up.
Yeah, exactly.
But if it's coworkers, friends, family, all that, giving you a bunch of shit, that's tough. Mm-hmm. It's really tough.
And it can take a toll on you emotionally.
It
but
can.
I think it's important for you to remember that there are other people out there in the world like you.
That's right.
Lots of them. And they're out there on the forums. They're out there listening to our podcast. They're out there. We are here to talk to you because you can't have this in your life in person.
True.
So there are plenty of other people that agree with you. So hopefully that make you feel a little better.
I hope so. But I think if you can move, you should.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but if you live somewhere where it's really difficult to be a vegan, I don't know that it's impossible to be a vegan. Clearly it's not, because he is. Mm-hmm. But if you live somewhere where it's really difficult to be a vegan and you feel always like you're being put upon, and it's an important part of your life, I think it's worth thinking about living somewhere where you can make it a better part of your life and not have to worry about it and be constantly having to deal with this abuse.
Yeah. And remember that you shouldn't always base how you feel on what other people think of you. I mean, I spent a large portion of my life worrying about what other people thought of me. And then eventually I decided, fuck it.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't come to this conclusion overnight. It took some time.
I
And I still occasionally have bouts of it. But lately, or more often, I just don't care.
And that's why you got a half sleeve tattoo the other day.
Yeah, I did.
a big fucking tattoo.
Big tattoo.
A beautiful tattoo.
Thank you. So yeah. So I think the less you care about what other people think of you is the better. I don't know. But that doesn't always work. I know.
No, it's hard to say that.
It is hard to do.
And it's hard to do. But I think
it took me a long time to get there.
It didn't take me.
Well, you've been like that all the time.
I was kind of born that way. I think it's a common trait in my family for some reason. Mm-hmm. My mother is convinced it's a common trait. But in any case,
because you do have to live in these communities, and
exactly. So you can't be completely fuck you to everybody. But
no.
I do think that maybe it would help to. I know having to hear that stuff all the time is really frustrating, but to put it in perspective might be the best thing to do. To try to recognize that people are going to think it's weird where you live, and to just look at it like, this is what I got to put up with if I'm going to live here.
Yep.
And to have to try to deal with it.
Yep. You got to remember, you're completely new and foreign to these people.
That's
so
right.
You just say, "Yep, I'm vegan," and yep, you're going to get the ridicule, and just smile.
I guess that's the only thing short of moving. I mean, I wouldn't want to. I don't like to recommend that people uproot their life, but he recommended it. He's like, "Should I move?" And maybe
if you have the means to do it.
Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
Yeah.
If you could live somewhere where you might find more acceptance of your values, and not only in terms of veganism, but also in terms of the rest of your life, because people who are vegan tend to be more kind of lefty and into alternative culture, into swinging and bisexuality.
Yeah. And there are places that apparently,
I never heard that, but yeah, whatever.
and there are places that aren't cities too that are more vegan friendly.
That's true.
So.
That's true. So I don't know. Do we have another email?
We do. It's short.
Do it.
All right. This one's from Molly. She says, "Hey, just an FYI, Jews don't think fish is meat either. For some reason, chickens and cows are considered meat, but fish are considered neither meat nor milk. What's up with that? My family's kosher, so I grew up on these rules. Now I think it's ridiculous." I don't know. I guess it's land animal versus sea animal is the whole.
I don't know.
But Jews don't eat shellfish, right? Shellfish is not kosher, right?
I believe not.
I don't know the rules. So
You're asking the wrong guy here. I think.
So why
I'm pretty sure
is shellfish is bad, but fish isn't?
Shellfish is out. Well, shellfish being out of the question is a sensible idea if you're a desert. If you're a desert people wandering around the desert, it's like, if you do happen to get access to shellfish and it's 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, you probably don't want to eat it. Speaking of that, what is Emmy eating?
No, I'm trying to prevent her from eating something.
Oh, anyway, I don't know. All these religions have their crazy little ways of dividing the world up.
Yeah, justifying things that they want to do.
It's like, again, I actually, the way it reminds me a lot of vegetarianism in a way. Like the whole fish aren't meat. It's like, it's the way vegetarians almost operate. They operate in this ancient context of, milk doesn't kill cows, but it does. Eggs don't kill birds, but they do. You know what I mean? Like animals are killed routinely in the production of these products. And so it has, to me, that kind of feel to it. Vegetarianism does. I'm sure I'll get the nasty emails about it. And just to play it one more time, I'll write back and say,
Eat me.
So anyway, but if you were to eat me, that would be
not vegan.
Not at all.
Because that wouldn't be good. And you would probably end up with, you might end up with a brain disease anyway.
True.
Isn't there a Creutzfeldt-Jakob, whatever it is?
Yep.
There's a human version of that.
A human version of mad cow.
Yeah.
From eating other people.
That's right. That's what you get it from.
Yes.
You can.
And that's how mad cows got it, from eating other cows.
That's right.
And that's how the deer get it in the wild. Not from eating other deer, but from. I don't know how the deer get it. Anyway.
It doesn't. No, I think the deer get it from. I don't know. It's
wasting disease. I don't know.
Chronic wasting disease.
I'm talking out my ass, so.
Yes. Well, I don't know. I think it's time to end this sad and pathetic little show.
Let's do it.
So let's put an end to this thing.
All right.
It's just sad.
We promise next week will be better. Next week is going to be our big Bonanza health show.
Yeah, next week's a health show, and a week after that we're going to have Sarah Kramer.
Yay!
And if we can, we're going to try to have Drina on
next week.
Next week too.
Yeah.
I was meant to write her back. I meant to write her back to get her on the show, but we were out of town for a couple days, and everything since then has just been spiraling out of. It's just been entropy in our life. I don't know why.
Who knows?
I don't know why. But anyway, so we'll be better. We always try to be better for you.
We do.
We actually do.
Yes. And when our server is working, you can go to veganfreakradio.com.
Indeed. And you can send us email at show@veganfreakradio.com and
267-299 oh my god, 267-295-1944 is still our voicemail line.
That's right. Oh, hey. I actually did not do that on purpose.
Let's just end the show.
I'm gonna go just put my head down and make little wailing, crying noises.
Okay. We'll see you next week.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Happy meat.
Because first off, it's interesting for two reasons. Is like, people don't like the Mexicans and don't want them around. Number one, but or apparently, two or B.
Yeah, apparently not even upscale stores. For
Not even
Mexican.
upscale Mexicans, right?
Right.
So, and also the whole idea of like, why would they be, if they eat chicken, why, what's the objection? It's like, you eat chicken, it's slaughtered. What?
Right. If it's all wrapped up and nicely packaged in the grocery store, they have no problems with it. But if it's killed there, oh, well, then no, that's just disgusting. It's just for those damn Mexicans. You know, it's like.
Well, you know, I don't know. Whole Foods is full of this.
Happy meat.
And Whole Foods is full of happy meat. And I don't know how happy the meat would be at a place like this.
Well, see, the welfareists would say, well, but maybe they're killed nicer. They're not, you know, all shuttled through the slaughterhouse. They're just quick, boom.
Could be. Could be.
But, yeah, I just find it kind of funny. And the whole line is like, it's not like we're killing people.
I know.
I'm
It's like we're
well,
killing.
To us, yeah, it's just as bad.
It is a problematic moral stance.
Yeah.
Happy meat.
Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. There's so many problems. It's like, yeah, we don't like it because it belongs to the Mexicans, number one. But number two, it's like the Mexicans want to kill all these fucked up, kill chickens in fucked up ways. And that's not cool either.
Right. And we certainly don't want to see it or know about it. Know that it's happening right there.
Well, that's the thing. I've talked to some people before in the past and they've been like, why are you a vegan? And I start to say, well, and they go, no, wait, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I'd rather not know.
Right. So
It's
they
like,
know that
you don't tune into Vegan Freak Radio to hear about our problems, not unless they're related to veganism. You tune into Vegan Freak Radio to hear about veganism, animal rights, why welfareism sucks. I don't know what else.
occasionally your taint.
My taint every so often is discussed. Other kinds of really hard. Everybody knows what a taint is, right?
We've talked about this before, so.
Okay, good. Some people don't know. I mean, we had these friends who didn't know what a taint was.
That's
I had to
true.
explain to them that it was the dirtiest inch on your body. Well, it's often called that. I don't know if
Yes.
it really is the dirtiest inch.
Let's
but
hope not. You got to clean it once in a while.
I clean my taint all the time.
Good.
In the shower.
Good.
Yeah. And I shower pretty often. I'm not like a
We're not
stinky hippie.
we're not a dirty, stinky hippie.
Yeah. Anyway, wow. I can't believe we're doing the show. I'm shocked that we're recording.
All right,
Everything
we made
works.
it past the 2-minute mark. We're good to go.
This is the first time. We've been trying. So, like Jenna said, we have a lot. Well, we don't have a lot to do on today's show.
Yeah,
I just
medium
feel like
amount.
I've run a marathon today. I mean, really, it's ridiculous. Anyway, enough about whining about the show. We actually have a very nice setup here. It's just every so often, the universe seems to conspire.
You
It's
get
like
the spinning beach ball of death for a
Yes.
while. Things won't copy. The network goes down. It just, yeah.
Windows was being evil
Yeah,
as usual.
This is no surprise to me.
Me either. But your Mac was being equally shitty,
I know.
so I was upset.
It's because you have bad Mac karma on my computer because
You're-
you yell at it.
Your computer. It's the right. I don't know why you don't turn on the right click on your
As I
trackpad.
explained to you before, it's because I usually use my big keyboard.
Okay, well, yeah, whatever. Let's move on here
All
and talk
right.
about some really interesting things rather than us arguing about computers.
Yes.
All right, so go ahead.
Yeah, we have 2 articles from the New York Times.
Oh, so what, are we only reading the New York Times these days?
Apparently, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, it's just these. Just I happened to catch my eye the other day. They're not necessarily vegan related, but they were both in the food section. So, as we always find interesting and gross things in the New York Times food section.
This is true.
We have one article about rodents, and we have another article about Hispanic groceries. Do you want to start with you?
Sure.
Okay.
It says tortillas like mama, but this is no bodega. Okay. You're not going to find Swanson frozen dinners at Rancho Liborio, a shiny new 49,000 square foot supermarket in this Denver suburb. But you will find the fried plantains called maduros and giant Peruvian kernels of corn. In the produce section, $1 will buy you 3 avocados. The tilapia are sold live. Stacks of fresh tortillas made from 600 pounds of corn ground in the store daily are always warm.
That sounds good.
That does sound good, actually. And maybe, if the local political winds shift, shoppers might one day be able to buy a chicken that was slaughtered and plucked on site a few hours earlier.
Not vegan.
Well, it's not. With its bright, wide aisles, agua fresca bar, and an expansive selection of hot food like carnitas and even pizza, Rancho Liborio wants to be the go-to store for second and third generation shoppers who are attracted to markets like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, but want to cook and shop in a store that feels like home. So, like, for me, basically, right?
Right.
So, what else is here? Okay. And
And it goes on to talk about, like, what the store is like and how it caters to all people from all different Latino backgrounds because they all have different, foods that they typically use. And it sounds like they have a nice stock of beans. This week on Vegan Freak Radio, we talk about the I want to eat it, but I don't want to see it meat eaters. And we talk about your voicemails and emails, all on Podcast 64 for March 22nd.
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority, here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Hello.
And that's our announcer.
Yes, we have some new sounds I think you're going to like.
Maybe you'll like them. I don't know. Maybe they're...
I think everybody will like them.
I like them. I think they're great. We have some really good new sounds. So, believe it or not, we're here. I mean, you don't know, but we know.
We've been trying for the last 45 minutes.
Hour.
To start the show.
Yeah.
And we've started 3 times now, 4 times at least.
At least 4 times.
Yes. So.
Various things going wrong.
Yeah.
Various problems. Issues with our network. Issues with me having things on the wrong channels. Issues with volume. Basically, issues with the dogs. Mm-hmm. What else? The power could go out and it hasn't yet.
It has not. Let's hope it doesn't. And we don't even know if we can get the show up because our server's down.
Well, anyway, but here's the thing.
There are all kinds of different kinds of beans.
I like beans because I'm a beaner.
Yeah.
I can get into the beans. Okay. When the chain started its expansion to Colorado, the owners had hoped that a polleria would be the star attraction. Live chickens would be shipped in every morning and then slaughtered and processed by noon. Oh man, where's my not?
Not vegan.
I actually like this effect. I don't know when I'm going to be able to use it, but this one's very good.
Eat me.
Oh, I'm sure we'll have use for that one.
Actually, I think there's an email where I need to use that one. Anyway, okay, live chickens be shipped in every morning, then slaughtered and processed by noon. But the polleria, which has met the Federal Agriculture Department's guidelines, sits unused at the Commerce City store, the first in the chain to open in Colorado because the idea of chicken slaughtering didn't go over with some city officials and residents. You'd think we were planning to kill people, Jack Rosenthal said. The company ran into a similar problem when it began plans to open a store with a polleria in Greeley, Colorado. In Greeley, of all places? Isn't that the place that's talked about in Fast Food Nation?
Exactly. It's either slaughterhouse or meat packing plants that they have there. I can't remember which.
I think it's slaughterhouses.
Yeah.
Both, or maybe, I don't know.
At any rate, it's a big in the meat industry. Right,
I don't remember.
Greeley.
I read Fast Food Nation a couple years ago. Anyway, the company ran into a similar problem when it began plans to open a store with a polleria in Greeley. Both chicken slaughtering and the chain's bilingual signs tapped a vein of anti-Latino sentiment. The public outcry grew so intense that the company scratched the polleria. The local newspaper, the Tribune, ran an editorial in July welcoming the market and condemning what the editorial board viewed as a vilification of Mexican immigrants. If this were any other market, people would welcome it with open arms and maybe wander through the aisles to find some new foods to try at the dinner table, the editorialist wrote. And I think that's interesting.